following is a hockey podcast out of Vancouver and Surrey, British Columbia. It'll only consist of a lot of puck talk and even more BS, or in actual words, banter and satire. Enjoy, and as always, go Canucks go.
You know what, Trevor? If I'd have it my way and I made the rules, yes, this Hindu made the rules in the NHL. If the Canucks finish first in the Western Conference, they should be able to pick their own team. And I wish we could pick the Edmonton Oilers, okay? Because the Oilers. Straight up.
Damn.
You're Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Coming into the week swinging. Hey, welcome to another episode of Locked On Canucks. My name is Trevor Beggs, co-host of Locked On Canucks and also a Canucks writer for Daily Hive Vancouver. Before we dive into the show, we got to thank you for tuning into Locked On Canucks. It is your team every day, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. If you haven't done so already, make sure you go subscribe or follow us wherever you listen to podcasts, okay? And before we dive into things, we got to shout out our friends over at Sleeper. Download that Sleeper app and use promo code LOCKEDONNHL to get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. It's April 1st, and can you smell it in the air? Playoff hockey returning to Vancouver. Let's go, baby. But who should the Canucks play in the first round? Who do we want in the first round? Does Kyle actually want to face the Oilers in round one? Let's get into, the most likely opponents, the favorite opponents, all that stuff. I got a couple different takes to get to on that front to kick off the episode. We'll also touch on the weekend affair, okay? A couple things happened in the game against the Ducks. Kyle touched on some of it, but we're going to touch on more of it in segment 2. And then we got to do a segment for the boss man, okay? And there's, Kyle and I, we're at bottom end of the totem pole. We got a couple bosses, but the boss over at Don't Doze had something that he wanted us to discuss in the show. And so we're going to touch on that to wrap things up. But let's get into it. And before we do any of that, let me introduce my co-host, rocking the Don't Doze shirt today, Kyle Bowen. How you doing, brother?
Hey, man, Don't Doze, man. The art lab, the place, man. The birthplace, sort of, kind of, not really, of the West Coast bias. For real. Gotta look after your neighbors so you can look after the world. Hey, speaking of your neighbors, you and you and you and you, you're in the playoffs, man. That's cool. It's Monday, April the 1st. This ain't an April Fool's joke, bro. The Canucks are back in the playoffs. We've come a long way. Congratulations. Straight up. Trevor, is there like a regimen that you're getting ready for? Is there some sort of, I don't know, kind of conversation you got to have with your family? Because these games are going to really matter. You can't miss any. What are the chances that, 420, April 20th, that's when the playoffs are probably going to start in Vancouver. I feel as if this playoff start is quote unquote bigger than ever because it's been quite some time.
Yeah, there's been a lot of buildup, right? And I know 2020, we've had the discussion about whether those playoffs were real or not, but there's no fans in the stands, all right? So it has been almost a decade since the Canucks played home playoff games. And I know we're all excited for it. I mean, am I getting the family ready? I don't even know what to do, to be honest. I mean, last time the Canucks played a home playoff game at Rogers Arena, I still live with my parents, man. Now I'm married with 2 kids. Like, that's how much has changed. That's how much the Canucks failures aged me, man. Unbelievable.
And if the sun's going to be shining, it's picnic season. You're one of the best fathers in the world. Like, you're going to have conflicting interests right now, man. Straight up. Because, again, the sun's going to be shining, man. Father of the year. Park games, bro. This guy likes to throw the ball around, okay? Unreal, man. Conflicting issues. Anyways, the playoffs again starting very, very soon. And I'm out here thinking about our first round opponents because, man, oh, man, I had a conversation with one of my pals, Cody Lawless, right? AKA Cody, AKA the man. And he was like, yo, Kyle, who do you think we're going to get in the first round of the playoffs? And I mentioned like 5 teams, and one of those teams were like the Minnesota Wild. And he's like, yo, what are you talking about? We're not going to play the Minnesota Wild. And then I looked at the standings and they're out of it. They're out of it.
Yeah.
And you know the deal, okay? When the Canucks are mediocre, kind of shaky, and that's what they've kind of been over the last couple of weeks, I do my best not to like watch the highlights. I do my best to like stay away from the standings because this could be an emotional roller coaster to me, and I'm an adult now. So I was kind of out of the loop. There's really only 3 teams, in my opinion, that the Canucks are probably going to face, and that's Vegas, who is maybe unlikely, and then the Kings in Nashville.
Yeah, I know it's been the Kings, Nashville, and Vegas for a little while, right? And, you look at the standings as of today, the Vegas Golden Knights have jumped back into the 3rd wildcard spot, so they'd be playing the Edmonton Oilers if the playoffs started today. Then you have the Nashville Predators holding down wildcard spot 1. They would be the team to face your Vancouver Canucks right now, and then you have the LA Kings in the second wild
So the
card
Vegas
spot.
Golden Knights are third in the Pacific. I was
Yes.
like, third wild card spot. What the? I get
Sorry,
it,
is
man.
that what I said? Their wild card spot? Yeah,
It's
they're
all
in
good,
the
man. It's
Pacific.
Monday,
Yeah.
baby.
I'm still working off. I feel like a weekend long hangover, man. Unbelievable stuff. But getting there, man. Getting there. I'll tell you what. The team I want to face the most is Vegas, and I want to face it for the story, man. I want to face them for the story of the Canucks getting back into the dance, facing off against the Vegas Golden Knights, who would likely have to be a wild card team for that to happen. I think that would be an incredible story. I think it's a series that most would have as a coin flip. Between Vancouver and Vegas. To me, I'm all about like the drama. Give me the drama. Give me the juiciest story. Give me the most fun matchup. And when I look at Vegas, the Kings, and the Nashville Predators, the Vegas Golden Knights, to me, are the most enticing matchup for the Vancouver Canucks. They also play the most exciting style of hockey of those three teams as well. So that plays into it as well. But, when I look at the Predators and the Kings, I do think the Predators are the most beatable opponent. Now, obviously they got some players.
You're
Great
cocky,
goalie.
dude. You're cocky. How are you this cocky?
Tell me
this
I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. Between those two teams, are the Predators not the easiest team to beat between the Kings,
Begsy,
Predators, and the
I've done
Knights?
I've done a lot of talking over the last 24 hours about this team, So I kind of want to listen to you. Okay, what gives you this amount of confidence and cockiness that the Predators are going to be the easiest team for this version of the Canucks to beat the same version of the Canucks that's been kind of boring, that's been trying to find their game in Nashville? I know they're losers of a couple games in a row, but they're still 19-2-2 or 18-2-2 in their last 23 games. So
yeah,
what's giving you that confidence / maybe pessimistic attitude towards Nashville's success?
Yeah, I just think Nashville, again, no one really expected them to be in a playoff spot. I think they're definitely overachieving right now. I think that you have some veteran guys who are playing probably above what's expected of them in this point in their careers. Like a Ryan McDonough, Ryan O'Reilly, Gustav Nyquist, even Philip Forsberg still kind of in his prime. But, you do have it's a team in transition. And I think, again, they played, better than expected recently. They're definitely beating all the teams that they should beat. And the teams that they shouldn't beat, they're at least playing tough and they're playing close. But when I look at the Kings, I mean, they're a team they're hungry to get over the hump. I think their young guys are probably a step above where the Predators' young guys are. They play a system, obviously, that no one really likes in this market, especially if your name rhymes with Mikita Bedorov. But yeah, I just think the Predators, they're not as tight defensively as the Kings. They're not as talented as the Golden Knights. To me, they're the most beatable team of the three.
Damn. Okay, cool, man. I like that, man. I feel as if this version of the Vancouver Canucks, I would like them to play Vegas because I feel as if they would actually respect Vegas and kind of level up quicker. Whereas I think if this version of the Canucks, I'm talking about the same team that we've seen over the last 9 games, I think that maybe they would take the Preds or the Kings for granted. Okay, you know what? I just spoke that out loud and then I realized, no, the crowd, man, the playoff crowd, the energy, it'll just feel different. And that will allow them not to take those two teams lightly. Okay, let me just talk about the Vegas Golden Knights though, okay? Let's stick to that one team for myself. That would be fun. And I think it's part of the story, right? This whole season seems magical. It seems like a book that's already written. And I think a part of this journey all the way to June is going to include a lot of 7-game playoff series. And I think that the Canucks could play any of those teams that you just mentioned and go to 7 games. Okay, we're talking about a Canucks team, a roster that collectively has no real playoff experience. Okay, everything's going to be tough, straight up. And because of that, again, I think they're going to be long playoff series. And I think a 7-game series win over the Vegas Golden Knights can give this team the energy, the momentum, the fake experience that they're going to have to kind of use in a couple or kind of gain in a couple weeks to go the whole way and ultimately take on the Oilers in round 2. And that's going to be a tough series though. Again, I think the Canucks are going to play a lot of 7-game series en route to the Stanley Cup. Bro, I'm going to lose so much hair. I'm going to lose so much hair and so much sleep, man. For real. Everyone hit the light. Look at this Baldwin right here. Look at this Baldwin. Dude, if we play 25 playoff games, bro, I'm bald. I'm going to Turkey in August.
Well, if we play 25 playoff games, I mean, it would have meant the Canucks have at least made the Stanley Cup Finals.
I know.
So there's that as well. That'd be pretty sweet. I'd be down for it, man. When I look at kind of the schedules remaining too, honestly, I think there's a good chance we play Vegas. I know right now we play Nashville. probably right now, I would imagine the odds have LA next, but I'm looking at the Golden Knights schedule, and the Kings actually have the easiest schedule in the league in terms of strength of schedule remaining. The Vegas Golden Knights are about middle of the pack. I mean, they play Arizona, Chicago, and Anaheim, but they also play the Canucks twice. They play the Oilers, and they play the Avalanche as well. And the Minnesota Wild are in there. So, man, if the Canucks beat Vegas in both of those games, I think Vegas is probably the opponent they're going to face in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So I think the Kings are going to win most of their games from here on out against, easy competition. Man, oh man, I'm speaking it into existence, man. Canucks Vegas round 1.
Yeah, we play Vegas 2 more times, and a big reason why I think it may be Vegas too is because I'm confident that the Canucks need these wins against Vegas and are going to get them, and are going to prove a point and ultimately, slow down Vegas, and slow down ultimately what they're doing right now, because they're 5-0-1 in their last 6 games. I mean, if they continue anywhere close to that, they're not going to be a wild card team. The Canucks are going to stop them, and it's all going to start tomorrow. Yes, we play the Vegas Golden Knights tomorrow. That game really matters, okay? It really matters. Bro, come on. We got to win tomorrow. We got to prove a point tomorrow, okay? This path to playing optimal Canucks hockey has to begin ASAP, and it has to, begin against a real opponent, and one that we may see in the first round. And again, the Vegas Golden Knights, a.k.a., bro, if they struggle tomorrow, dude, playing Arizona is just, it's not going to feed the bill. Is that how you say what I'm trying to say? You get what I'm saying? It's not going to feed the appetite. They need to give me something tomorrow.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And look, I'm just looking at the Kings schedule from here on out. And the Kings, the only 2 playoff teams the Kings play are the Jets and the Canucks. The rest of their 7 games are all against teams who are out of the dance, including, Sharks, the Ducks twice, the Blackhawks, the Flames, the Kraken. So the Kings, again, got a pretty easy schedule. So I do think that, again, the Canucks' most likely opponent, I'm going to say, is Vegas. That's the team I want to see the most. And, of course, as always, let us know in the comments who you want to see the Canucks face in the playoffs. I'm going to say it straight up. I do believe in the Canucks, especially if they could find that next gear offensively.
Yeah.
I think they could be hanging with any team in the NHL right now. Again, they're not playing their best hockey offensively. They're not creating enough. And that's right now the Achilles heel of this team. But, coming into the season, if we thought that was going to be the issue, that would have been kind of flabbergasting wisdom. You thought it would have been the defensive side of things, but
flabbergasting wisdom. What books have you read in life, man?
Look at my hair, man. Come on. This looks like a guy who say flabbergasting wisdom, right?
That's something else, man.
Speaking of not creating enough, I would argue the Canucks, they created enough at the end of the third period against the Anaheim Ducks, but overall it was another game where they didn't quite create enough. Let's talk about the game on the other side, including my thoughts on Brock Boeser as well. And I also want to, maybe do a little Trevor's trivia on this side. Who knows, man? Who knows? Okay.
What the
I know you hate it, man. You came up with the segment, but you hate it. That and more on the other side after we showed it our friends over at Sleeper. All right, Canucks fans, we're in the stretch drive, about to face off against the Vegas Golden Knights. And I got my money on the Canucks. If you want to put down your money on something else, make sure you go try to win big playing daily fantasy hockey on Sleeper, the official daily fantasy app of the Locked On NHL Network. Sleeper is my number 1 choice for daily fantasy sports and especially daily fantasy hockey. Because with Sleeper, you can win 100 times your cash in daily fantasy hockey contests. All you have to do is pick whether studs like Brock Boeser, Dakota Joshua, or Elias Pettersson will record more or less than their Sleeper projections for things like goals, assists, saves, plus, minus, and more in a given game. To win a 100 times bet on Sleeper, you need to correctly predict the outcome of 8 player stats. You heard me, Canucks fans. You can win 100 times your money playing daily fantasy hockey with Sleeper. So start paying attention and nail your picks so you can start winning big. Use promo code LOCKEDONNHL and you'll get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. That's code LOCKEDONNHL. See Sleeper's terms of use for details and locational availability.
Man, we're going to have a lot of fun tonight in Vancouver, all my real fans.
Okay, we back doing this, and that's Locked On Canucks, the show that gives you your Canucks every day. My name is Kyle Bowen. That right there is Trevor Beggs, a.k.a. Father Beggs, okay? Real talk. Are you doing this podcast right beside your little man right now? Are you brainwashing him to become a...
Yeah, my daughter's under the table, and my son's right beside me, yeah.
Dude, are you trying to force them to become podcasters? Relax, man. Come on, man. I know you've read the Tiger Woods book, but you don't have to take it that seriously, man. Let them live, man. Let them make their own choices, okay, Trevor? Come on, man. Trying to create a podcast
Okay,
family over there, eh?
here's why I'm really trying to indoctrinate my kids with Canuck stuff, because
Oh, I
my
like it.
daughter was
Yeah.
in Edmonton over the weekend, and I was on the phone with her, and she started saying "Go Oilers, go!"
No.
And I was ready to lose it, man. I was ready to lose it. I failed my kids when that happened, man. Unbelievable stuff. So, yeah, I got some work to do, man. I got some work to do with my kids. I mean, she's been all about the Canucks, and then all of a sudden over the weekend, she's telling me "Go Oilers, go!" But she's 3. Come on, my my family is indoctrinating her with some bad stuff. But that's okay, man, because she's gonna come around. I think she's around that time where you're gonna create your first memory, right? 3.5, 4.5 years old. I mean, I know that's when kids start to create their first memories, and she's starting to create her first memories at a time when the Vancouver Canucks are fun. Okay, and yeah, that's all I can say, man. Is I
That
need
made
some
me
good Canucks
emotional,
memories for
man.
my kids.
That made me emotional, man. You know what we got to do? We got to watch game 1 at your house, 420, man. It's happening at Trevor Beggs' house. And, we're going to make sure that night is the funnest night of your children's lives, okay? So we can save
Let's
them.
go, man.
Unreal. What a story, okay? Oh, man, that's emotional. Anyways, the Canucks, speaking of emotion, they showed a lack of emotion yesterday for most of that game, okay? And key point on that, okay? Most of the game. And I said this yesterday, and I tried being optimistic, but I think it's the truth, and we're going to take it into Vegas. I was really impressed with how the Vancouver Canucks played in the last 8 minutes of that game. You know what I'm saying? They really seemed accountable. They seemed like they really didn't want to lose that game, and they took it to Anaheim. I know an easy opponent, but it was their best players, shift after shift, ultimately forcing the issue and winning that game in regulation. So I'm going to take that, keep it as a positive. They were emotional for 10 minutes when it mattered. And I'm curious to know what you had overall in feelings towards what the Canucks did yesterday.
I thought they just got too comfy, right? Like, obviously, they're playing an inferior team. They're a much better team than the Anaheim Ducks. And they just got too comfy out there. Like they got a bit of a lead. I think they kind of stopped playing a little bit. And then it's all of a sudden the game's 2-2 and they decide to turn it on. Like, that's what I saw, which again, it gives me confidence that, again, when this team tries, when they put the effort in, they're one of the better teams in the league, but they just fell asleep against the Ducks team for, 30 minutes of that game, maybe through the second and third period, until the game was tied. And they're like, oh shoot, we got to turn this thing on. And then they were dominant in the final 10 minutes. But again, you can't be all systems go, 60 minutes a game, 82 games out of the season, right? But that being said, one thing that worries me is, again, the offensive creation on this team, right? And what are they, 20 shots, maybe, getting into the third period? And that's just been too often the case on too many nights right now. And again, like when you play a team like LA, that's one thing. When you play a team like Anaheim, you should be getting more than that, especially when you got a goalie in net and Artur Shilovs, who is playing his first game of the season and his 6th career NHL start. You got to get the guy more run support. And I just felt like they scored early and then kind of went to sleep.
Yeah. No, that's the type of energy I was feeling too. They just didn't want to play that game, and they were looking forward to the road trip with the boys, They didn't respect the Ducks, you know what I'm saying? And again, that's why I made that point. This version of the Vancouver Canucks that seems kind of like sleeping or just sleepwalking towards April, I think it would benefit them if they had a opponent like the Vegas Golden Knights to like warm up or to get excited for, if again the Canucks don't ramp it up here in the eight games coming up. But let's just focus on the positives. Do you think that, again, like what they showed in their last 8 minutes, the way they pushed the puck forward, the way they were pacing, creating the pace of the game and holding onto the puck more notably, do you think that's something that they can take into Vegas? Because that's what's been missing for this offense. They've kind of been so accustomed to just dumping and chasing all game long. And again, we didn't see that with the last 8 minutes of yesterday's game.
I mean, I hope it's a sign of things to come, but you look at some of the statistics this season and the Canucks, they dump and chase up there with the biggest dump and chase teams in the NHL. Look, they have the skill to do it. I would love to see them kind of rush the puck into the zone more, carry it in more. That kind of play does tend to dissipate during the playoffs, though. But I would like to see them do it more because I think they have the skill to do it, and I think they have the skill to pull it off. So it is kind of frustrating.
And it's exciting. It's fun, It's like it creates that freedom that's kind of missing in their offense / it creates a path to being more instinctive, playing the game. And right now, as Talket's alluded to, they've just been so mechanical. And yeah, let's see what's going to happen tomorrow. Now, you wanted to talk about Brock Boeser. I'm curious to know what you wanted to talk about. Were you just kind of fascinated by his line mates? Like, it looks like Pettersson is going to be a thing for him for quite some time, even though they're not doing that well. I just think that they're going to get a bit of a runway here. Do you want to talk about him because he missed practice kind of today? What's on your mind?
Well, first and foremost, I'm going to do the thing that you didn't want me to do, buddy.
Man.
Sorry.
Trevor's trivia starts now.
All right, buddy. Can you tell me there have been, 9 40-goal scorers in Canucks history? Boeser will become the 10th if he hits 40 goals in a season. How many of the 9 40-goal scorers in Canucks history can you name?
Daniel.
Yeah.
Marcus Naslund, Todd Bertuzzi, Pavel Bure. Does he count for 2? I know he's done a couple times.
No, these are just the 9 guys who have done it.
Ryan Kessler.
Yeah, that's 5.
Alexander McGillney.
Yeah, that's 6. Ooh, the deep dives, I'm not sure if you're going to get.
Yeah. Is it because I'm a Hindu, Trevor?
Well, it's going
Okay,
back
you
to
know-
the 80s.
okay,
I don't think
okay,
you know anything
80s,
about the Canucks prior to 1990.
Tony Tanti.
Hey, okay, there's 7.
Okay,
2 more.
there you go.
82 cup run.
Stan Smeel? No, he didn't get 40. There's no way, right?
Not Stan Smeel.
82 cup run. Okay, you got to go, man. Just take it away.
Yeah, Darcy Rhoda, and then this is the biggest outlier on the list. Ron Settlebauer. And he had
Wow, what a
a
name.
season with 40 goals and 16 assists. Very Nils
Perfect.
If Nils Höglander had 40 goals, that's the kind of season I envision for the guy. But Kyle, that was a pretty good effort, man. 7 to 9,
man.
not bad.
Dude, we're all Canucks. I'm a Canuck fan, okay?
I guess my question on my mind was more so Brock Boeser's legacy rather than the game to game. Maybe it's too early for this conversation, but I'm kind of curious on your thoughts. What does this guy have to do to be considered one of the best snipers in Canucks history? Is he already on that level? Or is there more he's got to do in
more,
Canucks
man.
television to get there?
He's got to do way more, man. He's got to bring it again next season and in the playoffs. And, bro, to be honest, like, I'm liking all of his net front goals, but, some more flair, some more bar down stuff. I mean, a couple times yesterday, you're watching Brock Boeser shy away from shooting the puck on the power play. They're making that bumper play with Miller twice on the same power play. He's like, nah, take it back. Nah, take it back. You know what I'm saying? I think for him to be up there with Daniel and Pavel and whatnot, like, dude, just give me some more bar down goals. And it could happen. Again, this whole Pettersson thing, like playing with Pettersson, and there's a chance here. There really is a chance here. I noticed it yesterday in my heart because I saw it happen live. I know it was against the Ducks, but I'm seeing that path. I think you were right? Garland, Joshua, Miller. It could be something, bro. It could really be something. And that means Boeser and Pettersson will have a runway. And, bro, you would be the first one to say this. For sure Boeser and Pettersson could be something.
Yeah. Well, every day is known. We talked about it earlier this week. I mean, 5 years ago, we thought they were going to be one of the best duos in the NHL for a long, long time. And then they all of a sudden just didn't play together for, 4 seasons almost now. So, yeah, I'm curious to see what that line can cook up towards the end of the season here. I don't know if Boeser's the guy to get Pettersson, to that next level, but I don't think it really hurts to try, to be honest with you. You did touch quickly on Joshua, Miller, and Garland. We got to save that for the final segment of the show. That's what the boss man wanted us to, or had an opinion on, let's say. So let's talk about Dakota Joshua and the boss's orders on the other side here. But first, we got to shout out our friends over at FanDuel. Guess what? The sports calendar, it's loaded right now, okay? MLB's back on, NBA playoffs, and most importantly, NHL playoffs are about to get underway. And guess what? FanDuel is making it even more exciting to get in on the action. Because right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $200 that you can use to bet the tourney, MLB, NBA, NHL, and so much more. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and make your first bet a big win. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook.
Hey, okay. We're back doing this, talking about your Vancouver Canucks on this holiday Monday. It's a holiday. April Fools, it's a holiday? What a joke, man. Kyle Dow and Trevor Beggs doing our thing. One love to the Locked On Podcast Network and one love to the Notos Art Lab for, again, just allowing us to do this for a lot of tomorrows and for a lot of tomorrows to come. You got to look after your neighbors and you got to, soak in that West Coast bias. Let's get to the comments before we talk about Dakota Joshua and what the uncle, the boss, had to say about that guy. Look at this comment from KT, okay? I'd rather have the Kings than the Preds, but it won't happen. Bro, if the Canucks play the Kings in round 1, it's going to destroy the NHL, okay? I don't want to bring my friends or tell my friends about the Canucks being in the playoffs and, we got to go to the bar. We got to make a night out of this and then bring them to a Kings Canucks game at a bar. Come on. I've seen enough of it.
Yeah, to me, of the 3 most likely opponents, the Kings, Preds, and the Golden Knights, the Kings matchup is the least attractive. I think the Kings will put up a tougher fight than the Preds. And again, I'm not saying the Canucks are going to walk over the Preds necessarily when I say that, but I do think the Kings are going to put up a good fight. I mean, they've been knocked out in the first round for, consecutive seasons. They're hungry to prove that they're better than just first round fodder, but they also play that kind of boring, suffocating style. I think Kings Canucks would be exciting from the sense that it would be physical. There'd be a lot of bad blood flowing, but I also picture a lot of kind of 2-1, 3-2 games.
Yeah. This boring, dude, okay? Now look at this comment, okay? Genevieve, what a name, okay? I think I need a 6-game series, not a 7-game series. I think that's what they're trying to say here. I'm so stressed already watching the games. It will only get better or worse in the playoffs. And then we had 17 Scylla talking about how I have less hair than a monk, okay? So again, we're connecting Genevieve's comments to my comments earlier. I've been stressed out, just life in general, and now I got to watch the playoffs. I'm already losing hair. I'm about to look really different in September, unless, again, I book a trip to Turkey, I start drinking rosemary water or what's rosemary water?
Rosemary oil?
Start drinking it. Just start drinking it a liter a day. And
Wow.
I start praying to the Hindu gods. Maybe my hair will come back. And look at this comment, okay? Aaron Gray saying that Beggsy's looking like Elliot Friedman today. Unreal. Okay. Speaking of, you want to say something to that? You're the compliment.
Aaron is the captain of our ball hockey team, so he's probably not too impressed. You see me look all disheveled here, whereas I know Aaron's probably like doing push-ups throughout this whole episode, training for our ball hockey season.
Yeah.
So
Aaron's
sorry,
a great
Aaron.
captain. He would be a great captain, though. Seriously, you need a guy like that to hold somebody accountable. And yeah, he's the guy, man. You're very lucky. Okay. Speaking of being very lucky, hey, Dakota Joshua, man, he's earned all this. I don't think this is luck. He's going to get paid. And what a journey to the NHL, and what a journey to potentially, the biggest thing ever for him is people. A big fat contract playing hockey. That being said, as somebody, our uncle on the program, had something to say about it. Okay. Let's run this segment. I think we're calling this My Uncle's Mad or something. What's the segment called? Uncle Problems on Locked On Canucks, okay? My uncle calls me today and he's like, yo, Kyle, I'm paraphrasing, but I got the energy, okay? You ever seen The Godfather? You know when you get these phone calls? Okay, I knew what he was doing. He calls me today and he's like, dude, what are you doing? What are you doing putting it in air or in the air, in the universe, that Dakota Joshua already is a $4 million player? Why are you putting that out there in the universe? Why are you accepting Trevor's terms and agreements that he made days and days ago? Okay, this guy has 15 goals, not 27. He has 15 goals in 55 games. This is his first year, being offensively, above average, really, in the NHL. And we're already doing this, and that's making him the next big thing. He's more of a Nick Paul type of contract type of player. Okay, he brought up Nick Paul, $3 million or something like that, $3.1 million.
Yeah, but 7 years. That's the reason they get the cap it down.
But I'm just, okay, so all in all, hey, it's my uncle, okay? Critique him all you want. He just doesn't want Dakota Joshua being paid $4 million. So what do you have to say to that? And do you agree with him at all just a bit? Because, again, it's only been like 100-plus games for this guy.
Yeah, no, I think when you hear Dakota Joshua and $4 million in the same sentence, I think for most casual fans, for sure, I think that's a bit jarring to hear. Because, yeah, this guy, I mean, he was not even really a full-time NHL player when he signed with the Canucks, not even 2 years ago. So, but here's the thing, right? I'm just telling you, if Dakota Joshua gets to free agency, some team is going to pay him $4 million plus. That's I don't even think that's a bold take, to be honest with you. You know, the guy right now, 27 years old, one of the league leaders in hits. He's now a first unit penalty killer right now. I know Lindholm and Bluger more so Lindholm has been out of the lineup, but Joshua comes back from 2 months being injured and is the first guy over the boards in the penalty kill for your Vancouver Canucks. You know, he's obviously missed 20 games, but over a full 82 games right now, he'd be on pace for 22 goals and 40 points, while being one of the most physical players in the NHL, while being a top penalty killer in the NHL. And again, at 27 years old, he's as young as it comes with the UFA class. So, yeah, I mean, the Nick Paul comparison is interesting, but I'm telling you, Nick Paul would have gotten paid $4 million plus as well. And we're going to be in an era too with the cap going up. So I think if the cap does go up by the 4.2 million is projected to go up by, you're going to see more contracts that surprise people because agents are projecting what the cap's going to be in a few years' time. So,
yeah,
look, I think if the Canucks keep Joshua under $4 million, it's a win.
Damn, because you see more upside. And speaking of the upside, because again, I talked about it yesterday, and I'll talk about it later. I don't want to put down Dakota Joshua right now. He's doing a lot, okay? But I want to bring this up, and then we'll sign out, okay? What does he need to do from this point on to cement the fact that he's worth that much money? Because even if he's going into negotiations right now and he wants that much, I don't think Rutherford and Alvin are giving that to him straight up. Like, they're wise guys. They've been around for a long time. You don't just openly give out that much money to a guy who's barely played 100 games and he has 15 goals, okay? Not 26, not 24. He has 15. What does he have to do, though, the rest of the way? Like, in my opinion, he has the skill set and the confidence right now to be better and maybe bring more to the table. And I think there's an ability or a chance here for him to be not one of the X factor for the Vancouver Canucks and their success in the playoffs.
Yeah, I agree. He is arguably the most full package player on the Canucks right now, especially after you see him pull off a between the legs goal, although he had way too much time in front of the net to do that. Yeah, I'm trying to get your question. Like, what do you want to see more out of Dakota Joshua?
I don't know, be a hockey nerd right now. Let's say he's in a playoff series or like in 7 games. Like, what do you want his stat line to look like if he's going to be a $4 million player? There you go.
Yeah, probably 2 goals, 2 assists, 4 points in 7 games, leading the team in hits.
Yeah, okay.
It depends what series they're in too, right?
No, it doesn't. You're making $4 million a year, man. It doesn't matter. You show up.
Well, I'm just saying, if they play the Kings and there's like 11 goals that the Canucks score in a 6-game series or something like that, then to go to Joshua 0, that's probably understandable. So
he's got to be an X factor. He's got to bring it. If he's going to play with Miller or anyone in the top 6, like, he just got to bring it. You know, he's got to be, this team desperately needs consistent offensive players in 5-on-5. He needs to continue at the same pace that he was with Teddy Bluger, but, you know, lean into the fact that you're playing with one of the best players in hockey now. And no, the person's name is not Connor Garland. It's JT Miller. So, like, if he's going to be a top line player, a top 6 player, getting a lot of minutes and a lot of love, yeah, 4 points every series, you know, being an X factor, doing your thing. Yeah, the expectations are going to, you know, go through the roof. Okay, Beggsy, let's get out of here, okay? Kyle Bound, Trevor Beggs, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We'll talk about the Canucks more this week because it is your Canucks every day here on Locked On Canucks. Join the Discord, okay? The Discord, a lot of conversations in the Discord, okay? All over the place. We love you guys, man. We're getting to know you guys because we're going to throw live events, and that's where the chemistry brews, okay? And that's where a lot of Canucks conversation and a lot of 420 conversation happens, okay? So just join it. A lot of music talk, a lot of book talk. Join the Discord, link in the bio below. Again, hit the like and subscribe button. Beggsy, do us all a favor and sign us out.
All right. Well, I got to shout out the most important people, and that's you listening right now, whether you're an everyday or an occasional listener, a first-time listener, a new subscriber, or you joined us on the live YouTube show. We love each and every one of you. Locked On Canucks ain't nothing without you, okay? And remember, it's your Canucks every day. Tomorrow and later this week, a couple of things on my mind. Obviously, the Canucks-Vegas matchup. Maybe breaking that down a bit more, because whether or not they meet in the playoffs, they do play each other twice more before the regular season wraps up. So we will dive into that. And I also want to talk about, is this the best the Canucks top 6 has looked all season with Joshua and Garland up there as well? So stay tuned for that and more this week on Locked On Canucks. But for now, I'm Trevor Beggs. That guy's Kyle Bowen. And you've been listening to Locked On Canucks.
Take care, man. One love. Good night.
You're Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks. Part of the Locked